Hey, it's Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek, with your favorite niche real estate website, thelandgeek.com. And on this week's Art of Passive Income Roundtable podcast, we have almost all of the usual suspects. We've got the technician, Erik Peterson. Erik, how are things in beautiful Franklin, Tennessee?
Things are good, Mark. Summer is officially started. School is out. So it's a different time of year for the next few months.
All right. Fantastic. It's a different energy in the house.
That's right.
It's a different energy. I remember that energy. It's different. It's more like, are you guys going to wake up?
True.
Yeah. The resentment starts building in June, and it goes all the way like to a head, like right before school, like, kind of thing. We got Landon, the AI aquatic investor Harris. Landon, how are you?
Doing well, Mark. How about you?
I'm good. How are things poolside?
Poolside. It's time for me to step off the deck.
Time to step off the deck.
Yep.
Look, it's
but good.
Do things slow down for summer for you?
No, it ramps up.
It ramps up.
Kids are out. Yeah. 2-a-days start to really jump up. It gets busy.
Yeah, that's where Erik should send his kids. Little swim camp in the summer.
5 hours kids, out of the day.
You guys will be getting up at 4 a.m. Get ready. You'll be great swimmers. You'll be super fit by the end of it. Last but not least, you know him, you love him, the brain, the professor, your flight school Sherpa, Scott Todd, at scotttodd.net, landmodo.com. Learn anything about anything, investorninjas.com. Scott Todd, how are things in Tampa Bay?
It's good, man. Very good. Thanks.
It's good. If you guys are watching this on video right now, you'll notice Scott Todd has got a little something different going on. You want to talk about your new office?
No, not yet. Not yet. In time.
All right.
Time, my friend.
We have an interesting topic. One I don't think we've talked about in the past. So, Landon, give us the scenario.
Okay. So, had a buyer was looking to purchase a property. We've been holding on this property for a little longer than we typically like to. The guy wanted to pay full cash, and he put the down payment. He was ready to go. And we were uncertain if he fully understood what he was buying.
Now, why do you say that? What gave you the sense of uncertainty?
Well, he said he wanted to build now. That was the real big indicator. Sales agent or our sales manager said, "Yeah, hey, I've explained the whole thing to him," and so he also followed up in an email. And then so we called him back. I called him personally. Said, "Hey, I saw you wanted to build. You can't build on this right now. You'd have to." Well, long story short, we ended up turning his money down because I didn't feel like it was the right property for him. And there's also a little bit of a language barrier. But
how much did he turn down?
So we bought this property for $4,500. We were going to sell it at $32,000.
Okay. $32,000.
Yeah. So we were going to make
You're going to make 10%
off of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
typical land margin.
Typical sale. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were looking to sell that and make a pretty good profit of it and move it on, but just didn't feel right. So we turned him down. One side of me is, I think it was right. Another side of me is like, really? He was going to send money. He was just giving it away. It's like, so the question to us was, should we have even, gone down that route? At night I can sleep, but business wise, I don't know.
I feel like we need more information about why you felt like I said, the big red flag, if you're listening to this, a big red flag. And we talk about this at boot camp. And I remember we even played remember we played Family Feud at boot camp? And one of the questions was, what's a big red flag for a buyer? I want to move out there today or build today. That's like one of the big red flags. So
Yeah.
was there anything else that sort of gave you the heebie-jeebies, if you will? Had your spidey senses triggered?
Yeah. So that was I want to build today. And after we explained you can't build today, you got to pay it off, whatever. He still had more questions, or not more questions, more you could tell in his thinking that he was wanting to build like in a couple of months after he's paid up, after he's gotten the property. He didn't fully understand the county laws. After we've, gone through it, talked to him about that, send him documents, he still didn't understand it. I think the language barrier was the real key indicators once I got on the phone with him.
What was his primary language?
I think it's Mandarin.
Mandarin. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you try to use Google Translate?
I didn't even go down that road. I didn't even want to try.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say something wrong or pronounce it wrong. I was like, I'm not even sure about that one.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Erik, what are your thoughts on this?
I've still got questions here. Like, Landon, you gotta help me understand. Like, why can he not build on this property? What is it about this property that leads you to believe he can't build on it if he owns it?
well, okay. So after speaking with the county a little deeper, the property would either have to be a forestry property. You can't build on it because of there's no road access to it. And the county deemed it as unaccessible because it runs through, I guess, a cattle lot. You'd have to get permission from them. The way they explained it to us is that you needed road access, or it had to be in the family for 200 years or something like that. And there were a lot of other stipulations that went in, and it was clear that none of these things were going to happen. So after I talked to the county, went back to him, explained those things, and he even called the county. They explained those things. He just didn't seem like he got it. So that's really where we were pulling back. So I don't know. I don't know if we made the right decision or not, but at least I don't feel guilty that I sold him a property that he couldn't build on. And unfortunately, I don't think this is ever going to be a property that will be buildable.
So how was his reaction when he took it away from him and said, "Hey, sorry, this isn't going to be a good property for you," based on
he was a little frustrated. He kept saying, "Yeah, you guys are the experts, so but he was really confused of why we wouldn't sell him the property. And after it came down about 3 days later, he decided I guess he continued to look into it a little bit more. He found out himself, I really cannot build here. So he understood at the end of the day what happened, but I don't know if this, like I said, it's just wasn't the right property for him. So
yeah,
there was no opportunity there to steer him towards another property.
Not currently. We didn't have anything in the size range that, and I was looking for wholesales. I was like, maybe I can pull something, that we can kind of get him into something better. But unfortunately, no, didn't have that option.
You didn't think to call me?
I know. I should have called you, right?
Like, what do you got?
I should have called you.
I got to buy with cash. He really wants to buy something he can build on.
I know.
That's an interesting subject too. Is like, okay, well, how would that work? How would you partner on that deal, right? Or would you just want to buy it wholesale? I think it'd be cleaner to buy it wholesale.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I've done that before. Just bought it out straight out wholesale and kind of kept moving.
Yeah,
but it's rare I go looking for for another property just because somebody says they want it. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
I mean, that's actually a great sort of heuristic is, save your time. You don't ever want to start chasing a property based on one person's word.
Right.
That, hey, I want a property over there. Like, pick your area. Don't let the one buyer dictate your county or your market. Scott, Todd, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, first of all, if you got to sleep at the end of the night, right? So like, if you feel good about the decision that you made, perfect. It's a great decision. Second,
but if it was you, Scott, what would you have done? Would you have done anything differently?
Well, I think that, maybe I would have I don't know if I would have done well. Okay, so I think what I would have done a little bit differently is I might have said, okay, hold on, time out. Here's like a warning, right? Like a warning, right? Sign this warning. I understand all of these things, and I still wish to purchase the property. Like one of those big warnings. And if he signed it, well, then it's. And he was insistent on building. Well, it's not like he wasn't warned, and it's not like he wasn't told, no. And so in that case, maybe I would have pursued it further, because
even if English isn't his primary language, and there could
put in his language, right? Like there's this thing called Google Translate. It'll translate to whatever you want. So figure out what language he's speaking, put it in that language. And even if you're 90% right on it, it's still going to be better than him not understanding. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I don't know that I would have, I wouldn't have pushed something I don't feel good about. That said, I think that, I might, if I couldn't communicate to him, instead of just taking it away, I would have tried to figure out here, let me put this in a language that he might understand with a big old warning message, translate it for them. And then if he decided no deal, well, then he made the right decision. Otherwise, I don't really know what to say, right? Because you can't, you can't be everybody's guardian, if you will. So I don't know. It's really a weird situation, but if you've told people and you've communicated it and they still are adamant to do it, but, I think the most important thing too is what Landon said. He said, at least I can sleep at night. There you go. You can sleep at night. So
I agree with everything they're saying. I think ultimately there's so much nuance in the story that Landon knows, right? There's in these transactions, you get a sense when you're talking to a buyer. And I think if they were probably English speaking, and you had more confidence that you could probably say, okay, warning, right? Or I'm gonna have you sign this document. Because I agree with what Scott's saying. You don't want to be the judge and jury of someone's purchase. But you also want to make sure that they're qualified to make that purchase and that they're getting what they want. And if it's unclear, or if it's like really clear to you that they're not going to be happy because based on what they're telling me, their intention is with this property, they want to do this, they can't do it. I think that's good. You've really have an incredible buyer in a relationship there because you've built long-term trust. If I would definitely come back to you like, okay, this guy's really got my back. If we're playing the long game, rather than saying, okay, I think this could still work for you. They buy, and then a year or two later, or even shorter, they find out, oh, this wasn't a good investment for me. I can't do what I wanted to do. And it's just not a good long-term transaction, and then you throw in karma in there, you can end up making 10 times the amount on this transaction than you would have because of the good karma. Erik, what do you think? Anything you would have done differently?
No, I've been kind of sitting here thinking about, have we ever had a similar situation? And I honestly can't come up with one. But what I can say is that certainly along the way, we will redirect or turn away customers. Yeah, I guess for us, it hasn't gotten that far where we've collected a down payment and someone's ready to send us the balance of the payment, right? Typically, we're trying to find out that stuff as soon as we can. Hey, I want to build on this property. Oh, well, you know what? This one isn't a good fit for that because there's no access, or this is going on, or whatever. And we'll have to, steer them in a different direction. So, yeah. And this one probably just happened too fast outside of Landon's control. And, a salesperson was excited to collect a down payment. Doc Feen was like, yes, I've got a sale. And then Landon's like, well, wait a minute here. This one is a little bit tricky, So certainly it happens, but, at least for us so far, we haven't gotten to the point of saying, having to actually give someone their money back and be like, no, you really can't do that. But I could see where you could find yourself in that situation fairly easily when you've got someone else helping you sell land, right? Because they're excited. They want to make that sale. They want their commission, and they're not always necessarily thinking things through from that perspective. But I think there's a point to be made there about making sure your team understands the limitations of some of your properties, because, I know for us, and I'm sure for others as well, there are certain properties you have in inventory where they're not a good fit for certain things, whether it be building, whether it be whatever, right? Like, we've got to make sure our team understands those things and that they're, appropriately kind of qualifying those leads and making sure that they understand the limitations to that property before they're going to the next step. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, Landon, do you, looking back, is there anything you think you would have done differently?
I think with this one, we definitely had to teach our team just a little bit better about how they're pressing. Even some of the ads that we were writing, I think it led to them thinking that this would have been a property that you could move on to and kind of, where this is clearly a forested property. So it's one of those what you're going to have to do with it. Even the conversation with the guy, I do like, Scott's idea of, you just throw out a warning and, if you missed it, then that's on you at that point. Ultimately at the end of the day, I feel like this properity will sell at some point. I'm not stressed. They all do. They all do. Honestly, I have no problem. It's going to sell at some point.
Yeah. They all sell. And I definitely think that you built a lot of goodwill by really guiding that customer. And really, that's just good salesmanship, right? Because nobody wants to sell something to somebody that it's not a good fit for them. And then you've got to deal with buyer's remorse and possibly a bad review online, or you have to refund their money. It's a lot of time and energy and effort sort of wasted when it could have just all been handled up front from the beginning. And I think that's, in training that team to understand that we're playing the long game here. It's not, and these properties aren't for everybody. Nothing's for everybody. And so, I know you can feel the sting of it for sure.
Yeah,
or your salesperson can feel the sting.
Yeah, absolutely. And she wanted to make it because that was going to be a cash sale. So it'd be a little bit more for her. And as a, business owner, you're like, man, I could have helped move the needle a little bit, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good topic that we talked about, but Scott, Erik, any last final words before we move on to our tip of the week?
Nothing here.
I would just say something that came up that I think is an important piece. And everybody's run their own business. They can all do their own thing. But, the whole concept where Landon didn't chase the deal, Like I would applaud that, right? Like the whole thing about chasing a deal. I know a lot of people do it, especially when they're new. They want a sale, they want a deal, they want something. So then, somebody says, oh, well, I'm ready to buy if you had something over here. And the next thing you know, you go running over there and, you try to like accommodate the customer and you think, oh man, this is crazy. I'm going to go and buy this property wholesale and then sell it. And you've got nothing that they're not committing anything to you. And my team did that a few times. Like the last time that they did it, they went after this deal. The guy said, I'll pay $20,000 for a property in this area. They went and they found a $10,000 property. We bought that $10,000 property. They're telling me, look, we're going to double our money on this thing. He's going to put down $10,000. So we're not going to be out of pocket anything. And I'm like, sounds good to me. So we went and we did it. Well, then he gave us his ACH information in advance. He gave us the ACH information in advance. And we're like, well, he seems committed. Okay, no problem. So we went out and we did it. And we put in he signed the paperwork. We put in his ACH information. And 3 days later, the bank informs us that the ACH information was invalid, that the transaction was canceled. And then the next thing you know, guess what? We're getting a letter from our bank saying, where did you get this information? Because the ACH information that you provided belongs to the Department of Veteran Affairs. And you tried to take money out of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs bank account. And I'm like, we got it from this customer. Here's his information. Here's what he gave us. So I don't know who was asking them. Somebody was asking them. And I'm like, hey, we didn't just do it. It came to us here. And I never heard about it again. But I was like, wow, no way, never again. And guess what? He never responded back to us. He ghosted us. It was a default. And we never even got the $10,000 down payment that he promised us. And it's like the guy just ghosted us. So what did we end up with? We ended up with a $10,000 property, and we sat on the thing for a while before we sold it. And it's like, well, there's $10,000 over there sitting idle. So that was the end. That was the last straw. I no longer chase properties. Look, if you can find it from somebody else, great. But if you see, I'll close this by saying, look, if you're looking for pattern recognition. So if you're here and everybody you're talking to is like, I want to be over there, well, then there's nothing wrong with like maybe shifting a little bit to go to where people are saying. But at the same time, I wouldn't just pick up and move. It's a test, right? Like I'd go pick it up and test, maybe buy a property or two and see what happens. It's the whole thing is about finding a property with your marketing that fits. And, to Landon's point, just closing this out completely, to Landon's point, sometimes you're getting people from your ads and, they're constantly talk about, oh, I wish the property was over here. And it has to do with how you're writing them. So maybe if you continue to get people who are inquiring about something other than what you have, maybe you have to go back to how they're being written too. That's it.
Yeah. Again, lots of good lessons and takeaways on this podcast where before we even started talking about it, we had no idea what we were going to talk about. So, Landon, I'm glad you came up with this topic.
Come on, Mark. You can't tell the secret, man. We slaved over this topic for weeks, and
we have AI pumping out topics for us.
No. We had a bunch of topics. We narrowed them down. We got in a room like Supreme Court justices, and then we decided which one of these topics we were going to attack. Come on, man.
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly what happened. So, but now we're at that point in the podcast where we're going to ask Landon for his tip of the week. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Flight School. Learn how the next 16 weeks can literally start transforming your life, creating passive income without any renters, rehabs, renovations, or rodents. Go up the mountain of land investing safely, efficiently, and very, very profitably with Scott Todd as your Sherpa, who's done it thousands of times. And I know what you're thinking, oh, wait, what about the tuition? It ain't going to cost you nothing. Guaranteed you're going to make that tuition back 180 days or less. Just show us your work. Learn more. thelandgeek.com/training. thelandgeek.com/training. Landon AI Harris, what is your tip of the week?
Okay, so this tip comes from a blog that Follow Up Boss sent out, and this is it's lead conversion and like how your lead conversion rate should be with real estate. Now, I'm going to preface this a little bit because some of this is a little different because this is some of the stuff that they refer to are a little bit more toward buying homes.
Okay.
So lead conversion may be a little different. And it gives you kind of a simple calculator of how you would do a lead conversion rate. So, basically explaining, if you're on the phone with X amount of leads, what does that look like? Their range is between 0.4 to 1.2. I think with Landon maybe a little lower than that. But it was a pretty good little blog I ran across. It even gave some good ideas of some things you could do and discuss with your buyers. So just thought it was an interesting little blog.
I love it. I love it. We don't really give blog posts as tips, so this is good. Fantastic.
Try to spread it out a little bit.
What do you think, Erik?
What do I think?
Yeah. I always want to know what you think.
I haven't seen the blog. How can I?
You didn't
I think it just went to you.
You didn't
Mark.
click on
I
it?
think it just went.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I only see the chat, Mark. So
I love being.
I'll reserve my thoughts.
I just said it in the chat, so you can check it out, and then
Right.
I can just ask Scott Todd overall, what does he think of real estate lead conversion rates?
Well, I'm scanning through this, and I do think that you need to. I do think that you should. This is something that you should consider with your team: is what is that real estate conversion rate, right? Like what is the what from the leads to the number of sales that you get? What is that? Because that's an important driver to your returns. And so if you're looking at this, a lot of times people think, oh, wow. And I see this all the time as people say, hey, man, I got these Land Modo leads, but none of them bought anything. Well, or insert the website here. It doesn't matter. I just chose Land Modo. Like insert the website here. I had all these leads, but nobody bought anything. Well, that has a lot to do with, you honestly, right? Like, the job of that website at the end of the day, whatever website it is, the number one job to that is to help you get eyeballs onto the website. Eyes. That's all that they can impact. It's not about people think, oh, well, it's all about, I didn't get any leads. Well, think about this for a minute. If your ad is getting views, okay, if people are seeing your ad and you're not getting leads, I think that you have to ask yourself, why, right? Like, what's wrong? People are seeing my stuff, but they're not inquiring why, right? Like, you have to ask that question. Why? Why aren't they converting? And it's a conversion. And I think that a lot of times we want to say, well, Facebook didn't work or whatever didn't work. Well, it's not about that didn't work. It's about, did someone see your stuff? And if they did, and nobody reached out to you, I think your messaging is wrong. And then if they reach out to you and you still don't convert them, well, then you have to ask yourself why, right? Like, that's a sales problem. It could be a messaging problem. It could be maybe trying to solve the wrong problem or not solving a problem at all. There's many different factors that go into that piece, right? Like in each one of these things, there's many different elements that break that down. And you have to keep asking yourself why, and then you have to start tweaking, right? Like, this is what people like to refer to as A/B testing. But at the end of the day, you got to start, tweaking. Like, hey, I noticed once, like every time I would use this one phrase, and I don't even know why I used to use it, but this is a long time ago. I noticed that every time I use this one phrase, I never close the transaction. And so then I'm like, I got to stop using that phrase. And maybe there was hard proof there, but I could tell you, like, I used that phrase and I didn't sell anything. And then I stopped using it. And every now and then you might slip into that old phrase and you're like, oh, then I just cost the sale. And then I was able to like rewrite it. But the phrase, sometimes even the words that you use can turn people off. So I think these are the things that you have to kind of get dialed in, and then lead conversion like this. It's an important piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just heard Robert Cialdini speak, the author of Persuasion. And this is a guy that did the science of marketing and the 7 attributes that you need to persuade somebody. And it's just, he's like the godfather of persuasion. Now, he's talking about ethical persuasion, right? Not, to kind of go back to the beginning of the podcast. You don't want to use these things, and for customers that are not, it's not a good fit for them just because you've got these powerful methods of persuasion. So there's another tip of the week for you. If after you read the blog post, read Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, and the book Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. So, Landon, are we good?
We're good, Mark.
Erik, are we good?
We're good.
Scott?
All good, man.
All right. Well, I want to thank the listeners, remind you the only way that we're going to be able to continue to shame Landon into giving us more tips of the week is if you do 3 little favors: follow, rate, review the podcast, send us a screenshot of that review, support@landgeek.com. I'm going to send you a signed copy of Dirt Rich as a thank you. All right, we ready to do this? 1, 2, 3. Let
freedom reign.
Pretty off today. Not bad.
It's a day after a holiday.
It's a day after a holiday. I try to keep these podcasts as evergreen as possible. So we try not to talk about the time of year or whatever it is, because by the time that the podcast does come out, it could be.
We didn't say what holiday.
We did say what holiday, so it could be this mystery holiday.
It is a mystery holiday.
It is a mystery holiday. Did you have a good? Did you guys have a good mystery holiday?
Isn't it called Land Buying Day?
Yeah. Seriously,
That's a great holiday.
Do you guys get offended by the Hallmark holiday? Like, oh, really? I got to do this now?
Well, I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it.
No. I'm out. I'm definitely out.
I feel like when Charia's on the podcast, we should do like a bonus piece on like Valentine's Day, right?
Oh,
because I consider Valentine's
Sharia
Day.
doesn't do it. We don't do it.
You don't do it. Okay.
No, like that was one of the things when we got together. It's like, no Valentine's Day. We're not spending money on that.
We're not spending money on.
This is a great one.
Yeah, it's an arbitrary made up day, right? It's like I don't want to conform to this, but for some people, they really like that holiday, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
It's like Halloween.
It's like, yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if everyone's excited about participating. But when you're not excited about participating, it could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hallmark holidays. Nah.
Scott, what?
I got like there was some people that did some cable management stuff for me the other day, and I'm looking and I'm like, what did they do? Like trying to figure out. All of a sudden it caught my attention. I couldn't see out of my glasses either, so a little weird.
Wait, what management?
Cable management. Keeping your cables tidy.
Oh yeah, that's a thing,
brother. Don't come to my office.
That's a thing.
Oh, I had when Erik helped me with my office, the cables were tidy, and then I moved. I like a cable, a tidy cable for sure.
Yeah, I did mine. I did Taria's. I was like, I'm looking to do some more, some more cable management. I'm like, where else can I cut some wires away?
We got these light bars up here, and the cables are that area was not taken care of, and so the cables look like you see the old pictures of like all the cables running everywhere. We got cables running from this light bar to this light bar to this thing over here, and it looks like a 1910 street corner with all these cables up here. It's a lot of cables. It's like, wow,
yeah,
a lot of cables we got going on.
Is it like a messy spaghetti ball?
No, it's pretty clean. It's just, kind of interesting because we have, it's just the thing, right? Like it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's like interesting because my mic.
By the way, how do we go from Hallmark holidays to your cable management?
By the way,
where's the segue on this
podcast now? I don't think anybody wants to listen.
Nobody's listening to this. It's just us talking now. Like I got my mic here. My mic cable needs to go over there. So it goes up that way. It runs to connect to the wall over there. And then it comes down like this with a loop down the stand over there, down to the it's interesting.
Not good.
What you don't see. Erik would be like, no, this is redo.
Yeah. Redo. Would you, Erik, would you just redo it?
Yeah,
no, Erik would
make it right.
Erik will get it right. Yeah.
How do you get it right?
Well, in fact, I was thinking that we could get like some, because like I got a light bar that's back here. Let's see. You got a light bar that's right back here. I got a light bar that's up here. And then what happens is I need to get the wire from here to over there. And they kind of like ran it that way and then down the wall. But then I'm thinking like there really should be a conduit that runs from here to there. So we run everything through a conduit so that it's clean.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Have to open up some walls.
If you're listening to this and have some ideas for Scott Todd's cable management,
don't. It's good. It's 85% good. It's 80. This corner over here is kind of interesting though, but whatever.
Yeah. I feel like this when I get a car wash, by the way. And then it's like clean for like 5 minutes. And then I get out of the car. I'm like, what just happened? Like, do you guys ever feel that way? Like I can never get the car perfect.
Oh, no.
What do you mean never get it perfect?
It's clean and then it's dirty. And
we're talking about the inside or the outside?
Both.
Okay. Well,
I see the flaw. Like it can never be it's never perfect. Like even if I get it detailed,
well,
it's never perfect.
Maybe you got to find a new detailer.
Yeah.
No, honestly, this detailing was great. It's just people come in the car, they open the car, they smudge the car, and it's like it's.
It also means that you need to keep it clean. Like you have to do some maintenance too.
No, I do. It's just I have to let go of the idea that it'll ever be perfect.
So this reminds me of like way back, like some of my country family members that just put plastic on their furniture so it doesn't get dirty.
My grandparents did that. That was so uncomfortable.
Landon, I saw an Instagram reel the other day, and it says like it's like that Instagram voice, like where it's just reading whatever you type or whatever. It's kind of whenever it says like 10 over 10, it says saying 10 out of 10, that kind of thing. Well, it says, ladies, how to get any man. And the lady gets into the truck, but when she gets into the truck, before she gets in, she takes her feet and she like like knocks them together, like all the dirt off the, before she gets in the car, off her shoes before she gets in the car. And like, maybe that's it, Mark. Maybe you need to tell people, hey, hold on.
Take shoes off.
Don't just stick your feet in the car. Swing your legs on the outside, lift your legs up, beat your shoes together, and then swing your legs in, and then put your feet on the ground. And then when they go to leave, if they've left something in your car, you're like, hey,
don't leave trash in the car.
I think this is another podcast, honestly, because I do think like are you like we should go around. It's again, we could do this another podcast, but like I do like the idea when people come into my place, they take their shoes off. But I think at the car level though, it feels a little too anal retentive. Right?
Yeah, that's a different podcast because like I can give you a preview. Like me, if you want me to take off my shoes at your house, no problem. I'll be respectful. But please warn me so I can wear some dang socks, right? Because I don't want, and I'm not accusing you per se of this, but you don't know, like, you don't know what kind of fungus are among us, man. That's all I'm saying, right? Like,
you know what? I never thought about what a fungus are among us.
Right. Landon knows. Landon knows all about that, man. Like not because he has a fungus, but because
the swim pool. Yeah.
Swim pool, right? Like you don't want to walk around on a swim deck with no shoes on.
We gotta wait for Tate and Tria. This is
this can be heated, man. This is a whole podcast by itself.
This is a podcast by itself. All right. I'll tell you what.
Sure.
How about the booty? The booty. Keep your shoes on. Put on these booties.
Okay.
Okay. All right, but we'll talk about it another time. I gotta go. I gotta go eat.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Art of Passive Income podcast. Are you ready to learn how you can start building a passive income without renters, rehabs, renovations, or rodents? Schedule a free consultation at thelandgeek.com/training. Let freedom ring.